Barron Ridge Speakers Agency proudly presents Speaker Spotlight, highlighting one of our keynote speakers from across the nation. Now, here's your Spotlight host, Mindy East.
Hi, my special guest today is Claudia Amaro. Claudia is a business owner, an entrepreneur. She is the host of Planeta Venus and a cross-cultural, multicultural marketing expert. And Claudia, you've been with my agency for a couple of years now, and it's so nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Mindy. Thank you for this space. It's amazing.
Yes, well, welcome. Well, Claudia, you look happy, healthy, and positive. Tell me what you're doing to keep that way.
Well, I've been keeping myself busy. I have the opportunity and the blessing to be working from home. So I'm trying to balance homework with my office work. But one of the things that I'm really trying to do is finding ways or looking for ways to help the community out. I'm in contact with leaders in the state and in the county and in the city to see and try to help delivering the message to Latinos in Kansas about this whole situation.
And Claudia, I know you have been appointed to a special committee by the governor of Kansas. So I know you're deeply connected to issues and you have a real presence here in our local community, but you also have been all over the country. So tell me, give me an overview of would you like to share how COVID-19 has affected the Hispanic community?
Well, it has been affecting us the same as like everybody in the community, with the exception that a lot of the people who are limited on English, they're not receiving updates and information, so there's a lot of frustration and anxiety. Same thing with parents who have kids in schools. You know, they're living in uncertainty. A lot of the times they're relying on their oldest children to help out the little ones because they don't understand. A lot of these people don't use technology or email addresses, and it's a bit confusing for them.
Well, I mentioned you're a small business owner, excuse me, and you have ABC Bilingual Services.
Yeah.
So I know you're very closely involved with that, and that's a passion for you.
Yes, about 3 years ago, we started ABC Bilingual Resources, which started as an interpreter and translation company focused on businesses and nonprofits. One of the things that made me take that direction is that I'm majoring in advertising, and advertising or marketing to Latinos is very new in the country. And when we talk about marketing for Latinos, we're thinking on big cities like New York, Los Angeles, Miami, but really in the Midwest, the quality of marketing for Latinos is very low. So what that brings is that Latinos are consuming more from larger corporations, you know, like, if I can say Walmart, Budweiser, Bank of America, you know, all those big corporations that actually market to the Latino community, and then local businesses are not really receiving a lot of the money. And when I learned that just in Kansas, according to the census in 2010, 5.6 billion was the purchasing power of Latinos just in Kansas. And I'm like, all that money is just going somewhere else. So that's when we decided to focus our company on businesses and nonprofits to reach out. It was a little hard at the beginning because most people think interpreting and translation services are like particularly for schools, hospitals, or courts. And so it was challenging, but now we have been able to manage social media. So really, ABC Bilingual Resources has been moving more into the multicultural marketing that you talk with my major in advertising. Mm-hmm. Most of my practices in school have been around the Latino market. So I'm ready to share that with other business owners, which is adding to their markets.
Well, you know, when you're in front of a group of industry professionals, give us an overview, if you would, to let us know, how does that multicultural marketing and cultural leadership, how would that add value to a company?
Well, one of the things is that a lot of people, and that's probably another issue here in the Midwest, a lot of our professional Latinos are leaving the state for better opportunities to bigger cities, right? I'm talking about bilingual marketers, bilingual doctors. They're leaving the Midwest, they're leaving Kansas. So one of the problems that I see a lot that, or maybe I want to say some of the issue, how do I say it? Some of the things that local businesses are facing when they try to really get into the Latino market is they think that by just hiring a bilingual person, they're going to get the market. And, you know, hiring a person for marketing, even for Spanish, is basically almost the same as in English. I mean, you're not going to just get anybody to post things on your Facebook page as a business owner. So it's the same with Latinos. They have to do a better job on identifying people with the skills to do the marketing for them. So I think that's one of the advices that I like to share. And I have a lot of tips when I talk to people and a lot of ideas that I can share with them. And so that's, yeah.
Well, and this is something that is, you know, it's been around for a while. I mean, we have a great presence in the community as far as being bilingual. We've got a lot of wonderful talent that is choosing Wichita to live, but not just Wichita here in the Midwest. I mean, there are major cities all over the United States who could benefit from your services because they're so precise and specific.
Yeah, especially with the social media management. I just published on my page some information. It was a report from, I don't remember who did that report, but I can share that with people if they're interested. I send a monthly newsletter with some information on marketing, and I published that report from 2019 that shows that more and more Latinos are getting their information from their cell phones, from apps on their cell phones. So at least on Kansas, on my experience, most people, more Latinos, are consuming and checking for references on Facebook, you know, on social media groups and stuff. So one of the things that we do and we're very successful at is creating social media campaigns. And we have clients from different places. Like you said, we have some clients from Wisconsin. We have clients here in Wichita, you know, and other places because that has been very successful.
Well, and I know that social media, so many people are turning away from the television right now because of just an overload of information, and they can't discern between what is real and what is fake news. So when you put together something for your show, or when you put together something for social media, you're coming from an angle of trust and experience for them to understand you.
Right. So I've been hosting a radio show for the last 4 or 5 years. I started on a local radio station. Now it has evolved to an online radio station. And so that's what that opportunity that I have, it really keeps me in touch with the Latino community. And that a big part of the marketing knowledge that I've been getting, because I try a lot of things on my social media with the audience that I have, that actually we're like lately we have been reaching out up to like 50,000 in a week. And most of them, of course, from Kansas, but I have people following from Mexico, from Colorado, from other places.
So when you go into a conference or event, you can do a workshop or a breakout session on how they can implement social media to be more effective to reach that targeted demographic. Right?
Right. Yeah, I have. And then I also love to talk individually, like with my clients. I have to have like monthly meetings because I like to make sure that I'm understanding what they want to tell the Latino community, and that they feel comfortable that the campaigns that they're managing or the messaging that they want to deliver, it's really getting across.
Right. And you're also very popular in women's empowerment groups and settings. You were recently a speaker at Women to Women at that conference. So you're a very powerful female presence to any all-female audience of executives as well.
Well, I've been working a lot with a lot of leaders in the community here in Wichita that have opened the door for me. And I'm just really blessed and really lucky to have friends who I admire a lot. And they're doing great things in the community. So I'm just happy to be in that group and invited to some of their events and stuff.
Well, and you rub elbows with the governor, and that's a pretty nice circle to be in as well.
Well, I was, like I said, I was appointed to the Kansas Hispanic and Latin America Affairs for Kansas, and I'm really happy to be part of it. Our director, Aude Negrete, she has been doing an amazing job really pushing for information to be translated into Spanish. So, I mean, it has been a great leadership experience to be part of that group.
You know, you're someone who has never had no for an option. And I think I'm just so proud of you that you built this company from the ground up. One of our conversations you shared with me was the importance of what you do. And could you share that little story about the lady that had to go to the doctor's office and had her small child in the room with her trying to interpret, and how important it is to have you as an interpreter instead?
Yeah, well, like we have had meetings recently with several interpreters in the area, including children and family members. And I've talked to a couple minors, probably around 12 years old, and asked them how they feel by interpreting to their parents when they go to the doctor. And they just feel, they said that they feel a lot of responsibility. And I did that. I started translating for my mom probably when I was around 12. And it's tough, you know, to go into the doctor's office, and then the doctor, you know, asks some questions that I don't know if a 12-year-old girl wants to know about, you know, about your parents or about your mom. So or there's some words that you feel really nervous because you really never heard them before. So it's really hard. And that's one of the things that really inspire me. Also, I worked in schools in the past, and I could see, like, of course, little kids who translated when they got in trouble and the teacher called their mom, and then they didn't have nobody else. So the kid translated, so they lied to them, right? And that's kind of funny for me, but of course it's not for a family setting. But also, like, when a teacher called your parents because she wants her to know, or she wants them to know that you have been doing great, it's kind of awkward to translate that to your parents. You really want the other person to tell them how amazing you did. So all of those little things, you know, really inspire me to start my own business and to really help out the community in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, you speak to all audiences and all areas of business, but one group that you're really popular in front of are educators, just for that reason, because there's so many children in our school system that could benefit. And so you go in and you teach the teachers how to communicate on a more effective level.
I've done sessions on universities, and also I have been invited to schools when they have their teachers meetings to talk to them about a lot of the things that our community are facing, including immigration issues. You know, how to talk to families about that. The kids get really stressed and anxious about it. So I just come and talk to the teachers, and a lot of them have been really thankful and really telling me that those whatever they learned from those workshops have been eye-opening and really helpful for them. Yeah.
Well, I am so thankful to have you in my agency. And if anyone is interested in booking Claudia, you can contact me and I'll make that happen. On a closing note, what would you say is your biggest lesson that you've learned, or the biggest blessing from this situation that we're going through, Claudia?
Like I mentioned at the beginning, I mean, of course, I have the blessing of stay home. One of the things I think that we're trying to connect and communicate better. We're still in the middle of a crisis. It has been really challenging, but at least there's people who have reached out to me, or I have talked to, like, administrators from other small cities who have just realized the importance of being more inclusive. So one of the things that I talk a lot is, we talk a lot about diversity and inclusion, but we really don't practice it. So I think the biggest blessing right now is that we are really understanding that we all are one, and that we all need each other, regardless of our differences. So I think that's the biggest lesson that I'm taking from this crisis.
Oh, definitely. I think we all feel that with the separation. and sheltering in place. So, Claudia, I appreciate you. I'm so happy to have you in my agency. I look forward to a lot of successful events in the future once they come back. You may not need us now, but when you do, we are here for you. We're here to serve you.
Thank
Claudia,
you.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Please join us next time. For more information on booking a keynote speaker or event MC, contact Mindy East at Barron Ridge Speakers Agency.